Welcome to the 39th episode of the Broken Pictures podcast / YouTube show where we discuss the top 3 things in pop culture you might have missed this week.
That could potentially be spoilers for your favorite TV shows, movies, and/or video games. You have been warned. This is the FOMO Show.
Hey, this is Dylan. What's up, nerds?
And I'm Lydia.
This is Quin.
And we just want to say thanks for joining us today. Whether you're new to the show or returning, we're glad to have you along for the ride. And we hope that you'll join us live on YouTube every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Please like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon. Ding. That way you know whenever we drop a new video. Podcast listeners, please leave us 5 stars in your podcast app. Also, please check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com. Also, if you want to support the channel, check out the link in the description where you can leave us a tip or buy some merch. Thanks for that. Also, don't forget to check out the Broken Dead. I almost said the FOMO Show, which is what we're on.
Yeah.
The Broken Dead that we do every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on YouTube, where we discuss all the things The Walking Dead.
Yeah, every single episode.
Woody woo!
All right, you guys have any other special notes this week? What's going on?
One, it's Lydia's birthday.
Yeah, I was about to say, and
Saturday!
yeah, Saturday is
My birthday is on a Saturday.
my lovely wife's birthday.
And
25.
And the next one is my mama's birthday.
Oh,
the next
really?
day.
And then
yeah.
Liam's birthday is the same day as mine.
It is. Liam's birthday is
son.
this Saturday.
Dang 'em, it's a trio of birthdays.
He's gonna be 2.
Oh, get ready.
Already. We're literally already there. There are so many
He
times
don't know what day it is, so.
he's like, oh, hi, Dada, and then he just punches me in the face. Like, he knows how to make a little fist, and, like, he'll just go...
Like a little Negan nut tapping going on.
It's about where we're at right now.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. That's all the special
That's
ones I
it.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, so happy birthday to Lydia, to Liam, and to my mama. Happy birthday, mama.
Happy birthday.
I don't know why I'm saying like that.
I don't know.
I thought it was
Spoiler
funny.
alert, though.
Yeah. If you didn't hear Quinn or couldn't understand his crazy fun voices, we will get into spoiler territory. We're not going to spoil your favorite fandom on purpose, but we will talk about newsworthy items. So, like he said, you've been warned.
You have.
What are you into this week?
So I've been watching The Blue Exorcist on Netflix.
Blue Exorcist?
Yeah, it's...
Oh, tell me. What is this?
So it's an anime, but it's an anime where these 2 twin brothers, they were born on this event that was called, they call it the Blue Night. One of the twins is, he was like, he's the spawn of Satan, and his brother is an exorcist, and they just kind of go around fighting demons together.
So it's almost like a supernatural anime kind of
A
thing.
little bit.
Huh.
So...
Oh, whoops. Spoiler for Supernatural. If you don't know
Well, I mean, that's just the general plot, like
Yeah.
the Monster Hunters or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
What else have I been into? Daybreakers? It's a show on Netflix where like a bomb drops and all the adults are turning into zombies with the kids.
saw that.
Yeah, that. It's a really fun show.
Oh, yeah? Is
Yeah.
it funny or is it...
It has its funny moments. I mean, it's not like scary or anything. It's like it's kind of meant to be a comedy, but still like a teenage drama at the same time. But there's more funny moments than anything.
Sort of like if Zombieland didn't have Woody Harrelson in it.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, and their zombies are weird. So, this is just one thing. You find this out in the first episode. So, all the adults that get turned, they say the last thing that was like, the last thing they were thinking. That's the only thing they can repeat over and over.
Oh, so it gets stuck.
What?
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
It is,
That's a
and
neat
it's
little twist.
hilarious. Because there's some people that say some really dumb stuff.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
So,
That sounds
yeah.
pretty funny.
That's all I was into.
Yeah, I'm watching The Office again. Reading Mortal Instruments on the 4th book right now. Yeah, still borrowing his wife's series. But yeah, that's really all I've been into. I've been sick So just mainly watching The Office.
It's going around. You can tell Quin's voice is a little rough. He's
Just a
been
little bit.
sick for about a week.
Yeah.
How about you? What are you into?
Daughter. All right, so of course this week was Halloween, so I convinced Lydia to watch Stephen King's
Oh
Christine.
yeah, I forgot we did watch that.
Yeah.
I stayed awake for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
On Halloween.
I know, late
After
too.
working all day.
Yeah, like
It
I
was
was
insane.
so proud. Like I didn't think she was gonna stay up for it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So of course she loves John Carpenter
Yeah.
movies. She loves
Big Halloween fan.
And of course it's a classic. Don't miss that. Oh yeah, that's the whole point of the What Are You Into? Tell us, tell us what you're into, and should we miss it or don't miss it, a la the FOMO show.
Yeah.
FOMO. So yeah, don't miss Christine. Of course, if you hadn't seen that, go back and watch it. It is an adult movie, however, just so you know, a lot of language.
A lot of language in it.
Yeah, content.
Yeah.
So we also watched Zombieland with daughter
first
Maeve. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the
Oh,
first
yeah.
one, yeah, because she hasn't seen it.
And
So-
JoJo wants to go see Zombieland for the second one for his birthday.
Yeah, which is next week. And his is on the 15th.
Double tap.
And of course, I'm still playing Witcher 3. I think I'm into Act 3 now. I've found Ciri, and we've fought the Wild Hunt some.
Okay.
So, which is the big bads. Let's see. There was something else. Oh, I think a couple weeks ago I watched In the Tall Grass, Stephen King, based on Stephen King short on Netflix. Freaky.
Cool.
Freaky. Yeah. If you like freaky stuff, don't miss.
I was like trying to sleep and I have my little mask on when he's watching TV or playing video games in the room. And I was asleep and I like heard something going on. I was like,
Yeah,
pretty
it's
freaky.
really weird.
yeah, there was like a dead dog thing. It was weird.
Yeah, it's so like it's out there. Like that's all I can
Ugh.
say without spoiling. It's out there. Like there's this field of tall grass, and I broke what is this, the fourth wall or the third wall? I don't understand. But anyway, so yeah, then people go in and they don't come out. Yeah. Yeah, and it just gets weirder from there.
Yeah, I believe
And
it.
the whole film takes place inside of this film. Or this field, rather.
I was like,
The film is in the film, y'all.
what?
It's a conundrum. Inception. Film within
Some
a
meta
film.
stuff right there.
Yeah, it's like OA.
Has
It's like
anybody done that
film within a
before?
film.
Is
Probably
that a thing?
somewhere. The Blair Witch Project. And we watched Hocus Pocus for pizza movie night, which was we did on Friday, which was the day after Halloween. But it's a classic, so if you didn't see my Facebook post about it, you should check me out on Facebook. I thought it was hilarious. You should let me know what you thought, because I got really tickled at it at my post about it.
And of course, we went as the Golden Girls for Halloween.
Yeah. So yeah, look at our Instagram and Facebook for that. He was Dorothy. Real. He was Dorothy, pantyhose and all.
Because it's funny.
It was pretty funny.
Not my first drag. I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, but my first drag was in like all the drags up until this one have been in church. So, and for the church, like asking me. So, hey, I don't know what that means, but there it is.
Theater used to be all guys. It's not that big of a deal.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
They used to be all dudes.
But moving on to the number one movie this week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. The number one movie of the week is Terminator Dark Fate. Wait, yeah, that's the name of the movie. Yeah, that's the name of the movie.
That's right.
Yeah. It has a Rotten Tomato critic score of 69% and an audience score of 84%. That seems to like be the same for the past like 3 number one movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems really similar.
But apparently people like it. If it made the number one, congrats, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go ahead and transition because I got some things I want to say about this real quick.
Yeah.
So so I'm seeing all over social media, people went and saw this and they're very adamant that everybody go see this movie. That it was a really good movie, but the thing going on right now, or people are saying, if you don't go see this movie, we're done with Terminator movies. They can't continue the franchise because they stand to lose over $100 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So I'll go see it, I guess. I don't know.
I guess I know what we're doing for my birthday.
But here's the thing, like the news is that James Cameron, one of the co-creators of Terminator, has come, and the director of the first one and the second one, has come back for this one, and they've basically pulled a Halloween switcheroo.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, and they've come and they're bypassing everything that happened after T2, and T2. They're saying it's the best one since T2, but in reality, that's not. I mean, for Terminator, that's saying a lot, but in reality, it's not really saying a lot because T2 is one of the best sci-fi films of all time.
It really is.
So, I saw it in the theater. Whoop, whoop.
Gosh,
blew my freaking mind. Yeah, I thought I was John Connor. It's like,
I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I was like, dang, I don't know what I'm watching, but this is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd seen like the TV version of the first one because Linda Hamilton gets topless in that one. But yeah, I mean, but as far as like, is it a good movie? Is it not? Is it worth seeing? I mean, that's really up to you. But if you like the Joker, then you'll like this because the score is basically the same. Like their critics' score is exactly the same. The Joker audience score was 89. This one's 84.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's in the same ballpark. And so it took at least. It's going to take at least making $470 million to even break even with this movie.
Whoa, that's an expensive movie, which is unlike the Joker because the Joker was not that expensive to make.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And the Joker's even like seriously approaching $1 billion right now.
Yeah.
Like it broke.
They made a huge profit.
$900 million already, like 2 days ago or something. Yeah. So I mean, this weekend it technically bombed though, because it only made $29 million in box office. Yeah, Terminator. Which for a movie like Joker would be good because it's indie-ish and didn't take a lot of money to make. But with this one, it cost 180 to 190 million to make.
You've got so much CGI, which is incredibly expensive.
You got all that really good makeup that you got to do because like Arnold Schwarzenegger's just gonna lose half his face.
Yeah.
So,
you've got A-list actors in it, the original cast in it, which in and of itself costs money to do.
Explosions.
Yeah. Stunt doubles, all those things, especially because of the age of the actors.
Yeah, and from what I understand, they went all out. It's a really good movie. It's not a T2, but it is a nice contender for T3. It is a good contender. It's a good one. Cool. But the thing is, like, I mean, some people are just kind of over it because we've just had like a decade of bad Terminator movies. Even though we had big stars like Christian Bale, even Arnie come back, now, Linda Hamilton is back, it's like, But, I mean, it's kind of like, but one of the big things is, like, does it really need to keep going? Or does it need to cool for a while?
I don't know how the movie ends. It depends on how they ended it, really.
It doesn't matter how they ended it because at the end of all of them, there's like one little scene where it's like, no, but really you didn't kill us. So it doesn't matter the whole movie because we're still alive. Exactly.
And that's one of the arguments is that even though it's a good movie, it didn't really add anything to the franchise. Because it's the same story.
It's a Mad Max.
It's the same story over and over. Don't you talk about Mad Max that
way. But I mean, in reality, it is. If you want to talk about
Mad Max had new characters, different characters.
Us non-nerds
You're looking
that
at cars in the
haven't.
desert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're seeing the same story.
But that's not the same story. That's the same aesthetic. But Terminator, though, it's basically the same story. There's only a certain point they can go back to. Otherwise, they're not created themselves, and they're trying to wipe out humanity. Blah blah blah. And
You can't
there's
watch
always
Terminator and Back to the Future.
Yeah, and in game at the same time because the time travel is different.
Yeah.
Unless he changed it this time. But Cameron was trying to make a trilogy out of this one. So that's why people are like, let him finish his trilogy. This is going to be awesome. Go see it. Go see it. But some people are like, eh. So Gale Ann Hurd, from one of the producers from The Walking Dead, is one of the co-writers of Terminator. And and copyright law, according to the U.S., is for 35 years, and then it returns to the creator. And so it's been owned by like Paramount, Skydance, or it's been owned by a studio all that time. Even though Cameron has come back to direct or whatever, he also the rights would revert back to him. But the studios are fighting, and it's a big to do. I should have done a whole thing on it. But
I was about to say this is basically a topic.
yeah, I'm wrapping it up. So there's a big thing going on in the courts right now because worldwide copyright law isn't the same, and so that's different. When you're dealing with worldwide movies and all that kind of stuff. But anyways. There's an argument to be had that it just needs to go away for a while. Let the rights revert to the owners, to the original owners. Let them reboot it, and maybe come back as like on a streaming service as a nice like Game of Thrones budget TV show or something like that.
Can you imagine an HBO Terminator that was the original writers?
Oh, dear
Come
God.
on now.
I mean,
I feel like Terminator's done everything they could possibly do in their world. Like they've gone, like we've seen a movie where they were in the future that followed John Connor. Mm-hmm. They've gone back to the past and then somehow traveled to the future while they were in the past. Yeah. They had John Connor become the villain. In one of them, like Amelia Clark just showed up for no reason. There was so
it's basically been Game of Thrones already.
Yeah, like
I mean, and even Queen Cersei was Sarah Connor in the TV show.
Yeah, so like I feel like they've done everything and like gone to every point in time they could go to, even in Genesis, whatever
Genesis, I think maybe.
Genesis,
yeah, I don't know.
Like
on Nerdist, they got me thinking because Dan Casey's like, it's called Genesis. Go look it up. So I'm just like, is it though?
Oh gosh!
Like they even sent a Terminator back to the past when Sarah Connor was a little girl and tried to kill her there. Like everything's happened in Terminator that could happen. So I feel like
people liked the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show, because I mean it's kind of like Star Wars, where it's like you've got the big events, but there's some leeway in between to explore some stuff,
Yeah. So that's just how it is, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the top 3 things of the week. What is one of my fingers? Top 3 things of the week. Number 1 is me talking about.
Sorry, my mouse is giving me trouble here.
It's cool.
Hearing aid.
WWE.
Okay, I'm dead inside.
Oh,
my mouse isn't working.
So this past weekend, for all those wrestling fans out there, I am one of you, and I'm with you. And like since I was 6, 7, I've been watching, wrestling, whether it be WCW, TNA, or the one that's just stuck around forever, WWE. But here lately, over the past course of a year, WWE, Vince McMahon in particular, have been kind of getting some negative attention just because of everything that they do, just from business practices or other things like that, the way they treat their talent, not actually calling them athletes and all that good stuff. But this one here, with the this past weekend, they had an event in Saudi Arabia called Crown Jewels, one of the 2 events they have in Saudi Arabia every year.
Crown Jewels.
Yeah, that's literally what they call it.
Wow.
It's someone in marketing thought it was a good idea. So, but so there was a lot of problems since they even got over there. Like when they got over there, some superstars, they go ahead and say, I'm not going to go for moral reasons because Saudi Arabia is kind of shady. Others are like, well, I'll have to bite my teeth because I'm not in a very high enough standing within the company to go ahead and say no. So they went ahead and they went over, and they had their show and everything. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Salam, it's SALAMAN.
Salami? I don't know.
That's just insulting.
Sorry.
Oh, I'll say it
Sorry, all our Saudi watchers.
We're sorry. But the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia wasn't paying WWE. They weren't like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me about this. This is nuts.
Yeah, so like the Crown Jewel broadcast, it was delayed by 45 minutes until they were like, okay, we're fine, we'll give you your money. And it was like $60 million that they were owed for this event, and they hadn't got paid yet. They finally got paid, but then once...
That's a lot of money.
It is. Well, once like everything was done and it's time for everybody to go home, someone, I believe it was the Saudi government, they said there were some technical issues with the plane. They had everyone get off the plane. They were sitting on the tarmac for about 6 hours.
Yeah, and they were they were posting on Twitter.
Yeah, the wrestlers posted on Twitter. They were all like really upset. Like majority of the roster for SmackDown was still over there, so they had to improvise their show, and they got the wrestlers from NXT, which ended up turning out being a great show. Like they just had them invade SmackDown and basically help fill in the gaps.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like it worked. It was a happy mistake, but it was still no. Like, a lot of them don't want to go back to Saudi Arabia. A lot of them are still really angry.
Which they didn't really want to go in the first place.
No.
Right.
It's just the
And
fact
they're having
that...
to go to year after year.
Yeah, because Vince McMahon's like, oh, I'm just going to make me that money and make me a lot of that money. And then late last...
Maybe.
Yeah, wasn't there something about him leaving early, too?
Yeah, he left early on his own jet. Like, he has a private jet that he goes to and fro.
Yeah.
He got on that. They were like, hey, this is happening. He's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. Y'all get here when you get here. We'll just make it work. And it's just like...
Which...
Classic McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, like... I get it. He's the owner. He's got to be there, and he's got more responsibilities. But he's got a reputation of just being a giant dick.
Yeah, like he used to be a really good businessman, but now he's just like, I'm 70, whatever. I can just do whatever I feel like because money. And
yeah, he could potentially be just taking the whole thing down in a blaze of glory with him.
Which, I mean, it's kind of is like some of the wrestlers are like wanting to get out of their contract, but since AEW came up and now they have actual competition in the States, they've made basically every contract that's a multi-year contract pretty ironclad. Mostly with if you get released from your contract, there is a no-compete clause. That's for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, which is normal.
Yeah, which is normal, but not for like 2 years.
Except for you think about the fact that this is how they make their money.
Yeah.
They literally don't get to do anything else.
Except
Most of them
they're making like hundreds of thousands, millions a year. Well,
some of them.
That's true. Because
Some
these
of them.
newbies are not making
They don't
that
have
now.
insurance.
That's true.
We have done a whole episode on the things that are wrong with this, and so we
that's
won't
true.
get into it again.
I misspoke.
But
I was definitely stuck. I definitely stuck my foot in my mouth on that.
It's okay. But late last night, early this morning, they did. News broke that WWE and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia have come to another multi-year deal, where they're going to continue having 2 annual shows in Saudi Arabia for the next at least 3 years.
And literally all of the wrestlers are Michael Scott right now. I'm dead inside.
Yeah.
Like, they are
basically.
probably super upset. Like, they don't have a choice.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
we shouldn't be over there in the first place.
He had to get on a plane? They basically told him, hey, even though you have a very serious concussion, if you don't get on the plane, you're fired. And you also can't get another job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do things. They kidnap their own employees that they're not their own contractors all the time. Send them to Saudi Arabia for them to get stuck there for 12 hours.
Yep.
And Ed McMahon just be like,
Ed McMahon.
I'm good.
Vince McMahon.
Whatever.
Not the publisher's
Whatever.
clearinghouse guy.
But all
I just realized. Whoops, big difference.
Yeah, so I mean, like they're contract workers. They're not technically employees, which is how he can get away with no insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yet they're held to a clause like no compete, as if they were regular employees. So he's really working the loopholes here.
He is. I mean, some things have changed since SmackDown is now on Fox, because now they're like WWE's being treated. WWE's being treated like it's just a regular sports show, or like just like Monday Night Football, but just for Friday they have WWE backstage and things like that. But there's the only other thing that comes from this that's like a good thing about it is just the fact that WWE is starting to realize things aren't as good as they want it to be. Like some of the wrestlers, they're all very upset, and they all want some sort of change, and they're just kind of advocating out to everyone else like, hey, help us make them see that this isn't what work for us needs to be.
So the Saudi deal that they did, is that going to improve things? Or, I mean...
It's just going to be more money in WWE's pocket. Because
and they're not using it to pour back into their employees.
Not that I can tell, besides the ones that are like at the top. Everybody else, because I mean, everybody still has to, rent their own cars and all that stuff to get from place to place. Excuse me. But they've made some improvements to the stage and everything. They got pyro back for the past few years. They haven't had pyro or anything, so that helps with that.
And in layman's term, pyrotechnics.
Yeah, just like fireworks.
And I'm back.
Just checking.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who let the dog out? I did.
That was extremely unnecessary. I'm sorry for that brief interruption, folks.
But the other bad news for WWE is like their video game currently. WWE 2K20 is, that, riddled with bugs and glitches, and it is the lowest selling WWE game since 2K took over WWE games.
Yeah. By the way, that's their new character, Bugzilla.
Basically, yes.
So she's not supposed to haunt my nightmares?
I think she is, actually.
She is.
It's the Halloween edition.
Which it's riddled with glitches and bugs, like the nightmare hair, no faces, no lips apparently, because there's no lips on her face.
Teeth.
It's just teeth.
Yeah,
and
weird body parts, bendings, weird ways.
Yeah.
Like I saw some of them online. It's really disturbing.
Yeah, like I was playing the other day. I was literally like the second day I was playing. I threw somebody against the ropes. We ran at each other and we did this. Whoop! And like we just slid off each other like we just both put butter on our bodies.
Well, they do oil themselves up.
Yeah, they do, but that's a whole nother thing. Like
Ghosty boy.
The Rock was always shiny.
This is my dog Ghost, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
But so in like reaction to this game being so bad, Sony has been giving their people who have bought the game online and other places like a full refund just because it's been bad. And they released a patch late last week, last Friday. They released a patch. It was about 10 gigs, and
that's a huge patch.
Yeah, but you know what it fixed? Graphics. That's all it fixed. It didn't fix any of the gameplay issues. It didn't fix the people running each other and whoop, sliding off each other like butter. It just made it look slightly better.
Wow.
And there's supposed to be a series of other patches being released.
So now you can see our screw-ups in high def.
Yeah, basically. And it's frustrating. I mean, me and my friend Chris, we went half in on the game. And we got it digitally and like shared between both our Xboxes, but
yeah, because Xbox watches and they know.
Microsoft's gonna be like, "Oh, hey guys, don't do that."
I don't know about your show. No, I'm not a subscriber, but don't do that.
Yeah. By the way, just to throw this out there, we're just fans and nerds, and we just like things. We're not like legit journalists or have connections.
I'm missing work for this.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Like we live in Northwest Arkansas, which is like, I mean, it has a relatively growing film industry, but nothing like we're not in LA or New York.
No.
Anyway,
even Atlanta,
what we're saying
so,
is
yeah.
that Microsoft doesn't give a rip if he's sharing his game.
We're on
Yeah.
no one's radar except for yours. Thank you very,
Yeah.
very much.
So we did that secret, not secret stuff. And he hasn't played it
Secret, not
since
secret stuff.
he hasn't played it since the game came out, and I play it off and on to see if, like, when they released the patch, I tried to play it, see if anything was different, and I literally tried to jump off the rope to somebody. I went through the ring, and then, like, I just got stuck in an endless cycle of being, like, going through the ring and through the ceiling and through the ring and through the ceiling. And I was like, oh,
it's like
okay, I'm going to turn
hardly
this
even
off now.
playable.
Yeah, and I feel like it's mostly because NBA 2K and then WWE 2K, the people who used to create the game before 2K bought THQ, they just came on the 2K and then it was just under their name, and they were still making the game. But now it's fully under 2K, and they had the same people that worked on NBA work on this, and I think they were just stretch themselves too thin, because NBA 2K also has glitches, not as many or as bad, but it also has glitches this year.
Wow.
So
They
WD.
should listen to Ron Swanson. You don't half-ass two things. You whole-ass one thing.
yeah, basically.
Come on, get it
There you
together.
go.
Well, with that, I don't have anything else. Y'all have any
Are you
questions?
yielding the floor, sir?
He's like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause-
poor WWE.
but
Is AEW still beating TNT?
yeah, they're still beating NXT.
Or
like
NXT, my bad. Not
it's
T- On
cool.
TNT?
I was like, I don't know.
they're
Same thing.
they're still pulling in 1 million viewers every Wednesday. NXT is like at least 100,000 shy of catching up.
They're looking at that throne.
Yeah. So, and like they
Although they're probably just a gnat on WWE's ass at this point.
not really. I mean,
Really?
because they
Because WWE is massive.
but WWE is massive.
We're talking about like beating one show of theirs of everything they do.
But if WWE wasn't like taking them just a tad seriously, tad serious, yeah, tad serious.
Why so serious?
They wouldn't have put on so many major stars, and they wouldn't have had NXT literally invade Raw and SmackDown, so that people will watch NXT this Wednesday to see, what is going to be the like, how is Raw and SmackDown going to clap back since NXT just clapped right in their face.
Nice. See, the competition is a good thing. It
Competition is a
actually
good
raises the stakes and makes people gets the creative juices going.
And in the States, no less, like, it makes it a huge, what's the word I'm looking for? But it makes it a lot better because wrestlers don't have to go to just one place. They don't have the only choice of WWE. They get to be famous and do what they love on something else where maybe they're treated better.
Yep. Hopefully. Yeah, because AEW was started by wrestlers, wasn't it?
Yeah, started by Cody Rhodes. If y'all don't know, he's the son of Dusty Rhodes, who even back in the day was managing his own wrestling companies and also was in WCW. He's also in the WWE Hall of Fame, and a couple of his friends, the Young Bucks. But yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to whisper to Dylan that he needs to center up in his little rectangle there.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm going to have to...
There you go.
Okay.
That's better.
But that is all I have. Right, now it's time for number 2. Treat yourself.
The Witcher. So, as I said, I've been playing The Witcher Part 3, but as it seems, none of that matters because The Witcher on Netflix is coming out December 20th, and it is going to be based on the book series that actually came first and not the game series, which everybody knows. So, some people think that's a major misstep. However, this isn't the first thing to get into based on the books, and so things are a little bit different. So we're going to look at a couple of things that are different, just kind of establish some of the characters and a little bit about the world of The Witcher, and get into what some of what some of the trailer reveals. All right, so season 1 is going to be kind of like The Witcher Origins, and it's going to cover the first 2 books of short stories, The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny, by author Andrzej Sapkowski. He's a Polish author. These are very like Slavic based stories. Like, I mean, you get into like which are like, you know, like where Dracula and some of these ancient these ancient monsters come from, right? So this is very, very based in their culture, and some people are worried about that because there's been a little bit of race bending, but the showrunner Lauren Hissich is a big fan of the games. So she's going to kind of like give some winks and nods to the games, and we kind of see that a little bit in this trailer, but she is also very, very adamant that she not take away from their Polish roots, because even the game company CD Projekt Red that popularized the game, which actually made this whole franchise possible, is based in Warsaw, Poland.
Okay.
So I mean, it's very, very, very Polish in roots, and I watch a YouTuber just because I'm trying to like play through the game and stuff, who is like from Bulgaria, which is in the Slavic region, you know, which is like Eastern Europe. You get into like Russia and all that kind of thing, the Ukraine, all that kind of. So very, very like white, pale people, you know, dark hair. So like he kind of took some issue with some of the race bending, and he was saying that like he's read the books and he plays the game, and he puts out content on the games, like what you missed in the game, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. So I mean, I kind of take his word on it because he is Slavic, but like he had, and I wish I forgot what his channel's called, but he kind of took a little bit of issue with the race bending because he was like, in the world of The Witcher, the racism and stuff like that has got to do with humans and non-humans, not color of people. Yeah, because I mean, for the most part, most of the people are white people. They're pale people, and there's different shades of that or whatever. But I mean, it's like when you're watching a European story, you know, a fairy tale or something. Like, most people are white because that's where these stories came from. But I mean, not to get into say if that's right or wrong, but and because there's an argument to be had that if it doesn't matter, then you should be able to change them anyway. So, but the only thing is that people have these images in their head of the characters of the game, you know, and then you watch the TV show, and they're like trying to do their own thing based on the books and not just follow the games. So of course it's gonna be met with some backlash, you know. So I've got some images. One of the things that I noticed right off, of course, is that this is going to be different. We've got Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia, the main character, and he's got yellow eyes, but in the games they've got like they're cat eyes. And I'm not sure if that's a book thing, because I haven't read the books, to be honest. I started playing The Witcher 3 to get into this world and try to figure out what it was. So this is what the game looks like. Like, he's got 2 swords. One is silver, one is steel. One's for monsters, one's for humans, and or humanoids or whatever. But you can see like those stark yellow eyes, and he's got scars. You can see the medallion is a wolf head. He's from the school of the wolf, which is like different types of fighting styles and stuff like that. Yep. Henry Cavill's character. This story takes place at like the very, very beginning of The Witcher's stories, and it kind of serves as like The Witcher Origins in the TV show, and the games kind of take place like after the book series. So that could explain like some of the scars, the beard, you know, that kind of thing's looking different. But in the books, the medallion is described as round. So you can go ahead and transition.
Yeah,
You can
'cause,
see in this scene, Henry Cavill's medallion is round. But this is also the famous bathtub scene that is seen over and over again in The Witcher 3, but is also in the books, you know. But like I said, the showrunner is a big fan of the games. However, she's trying to be true to the books, but that doesn't mean that she won't give some shout outs to excuse me, to the game players. So, you,
Huh? I just laughed.
I was saying, excuse me, I got some catch in my throat. So we've got some. I'm sorry, I got to take a drink of water real quick.
So, I mean, with the the famous bathtub scene, the only thing I kind of want to see is if he's in the bath and Yennefer comes in, or even Triss, and she'd like summon a crab and just start snipping at him.
That'd be funny.
That'd be hilarious.
So there is a little clip later in this trailer where Yennefer is in the bathroom scene with, or not in the tub, but she's next to him, and actually this scene right here, he gives another perspective, and she's like kind of off to the side. So these characters, you can go ahead and change over. These are kind of like the main characters. You've got Yennefer of Vandenberg, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
She is like the main love interest for Geralt. She's very, very powerful in her own right. That's the game version. But this is the show version, and she's a lot younger. In the game, or in the story or whatever, she's the same age as Geralt, but she's been cast what seems a lot younger. She looks a lot younger in the in the TV show, so that could be a point of contention. However, they said that they looked at hundreds and hundreds of European actresses, and she was far and away the best one. And as you can see, there's a scene that I'll play. Maybe we'll get to play later. That her and Henry Cavill have really great chemistry, and cool. So that matters. So that's good. So the next character, we'll look at Ciri. Now in this version, to be fair, this is from The Witcher 3. Ciri is a lot older; she's an adult, but in this version, she's about 11 years old, and so this is Ciri as a child, Princess Ciri actually. Where's the? Anyways, I can't remember the name of the. Anyways, she's a princess, and so and she. What's special about her is she's got what they call elder blood, and so she's got like these powers. And her mother had it too, but everybody's after her. I don't know if hers is more pure or anything like that. But she's always on the run, and so there'll be more about her later. Go ahead and change it over. We know Geralt in the middle there, and there's also Vesemir, which the showrunner said would make an appearance, and we do see him in the trailer. Is what people are calling Vesemir, even though I don't have confirmation necessarily. But he is kind of like a father figure to Geralt, and he is one of the oldest Witchers. And even though he's really old, he's still really powerful.
Good.
And yeah, so basically, the Witchers, to become a Witcher, they take a child, and then they put them through what they call the trial of grasses, and they take these potions, and they're mutagens or whatever, and they become mutants, and they mutate into a Witcher, and that's no longer human. They're like technically a monster or whatever. And but only like 3 out of 10 boys survive the ritual. So that's kind of a big deal that they get into later. Which is actually one of the main plots of The Witcher 2.
Yeah.
But so Vesemir is like the big daddy that kind of trains everybody or whatever of Kaer Morhen, which is the castle that they call home. And so So let's move on to Triss. This is Triss. She's kind of like a love interest. Go back.
I'm going. Keep talking.
Okay, so Triss is obviously one of the. You kind of spoiled my thunder there. So this is Triss in the game. She's light-skinned, red-headed, very bubbly. She's a sorceress as well. She is actually one of Yennefer's closest friends, but spoiler alert, she kind of steals Geralt in The Witcher 2. He loses his memories, and she takes him for her own, and that is a point of contention. And for some reason, Yennefer takes it out on Geralt, not Triss. I don't know why, but because they're actually together.
Because she's like, you should have remembered me. Sleeping with my friend. Get out of here.
Yeah, even though Triss knew exactly what she was doing the entire time.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the points of contention for the show is that this is the actress that they've cast as Triss, and it's a race-bending... you can go ahead and change. Yeah. Sorry, she's having troubles with the mouse there. But she's doing a great job. So this is Triss for the game, and obviously does not look the same. And we don't really get a full body shot, but Triss is also like one of the bosomy feminine characters too.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see if they kind of stay true to that, or if they kind of change it up a little bit, or if that's even the same way, like they might have bent it for the game, you know, and it's not the same in the books at all.
I mean, I haven't read the books, but I feel like, you know, as you said, it's a Slavic story, so I feel like she would have looked like how she does in the games, and I feel like it's a better look for her in the games as well, because it's gonna get really weird, because like they're in The Witcher, there are elves and everything, and most humans are kind of like they are racist, but they're racist against, like you said, other races. Like most humans don't like elves.
Yeah.
They don't trust witchers. But for her just to be this random dark-skinned lady, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and so there's another race-bending character. I'm trying to look over my notes, which is a big mess here. Fringilla, which is also another sorceress. She's in the trailer. I don't have a picture of her, but if you watch the trailer, she's the one standing at the catapult with the big fiery catapult being slung, and she looks like she embodies the character. Which, I mean, that's another thing. Is like looking at this stuff. With anything that comes out, like if we have an established lore or an established look of characters, there's always going to be some kickback when something else develops, you know. But it might be like one of the things like with Game of Thrones where they changed up some characters and people loved it anyways, you know.
Yeah, or like how Magneto could not be the Magneto that we know coming in the future if the X-Men come to the MCU.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that's my thing. If it makes sense to change it, like if there's a good reason, then absolutely. Because otherwise it just seems like, you know, just pandering, you know.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, we're gonna put some black people in here because there's no black people. But
it's cool. We don't gotta be in everything.
I mean, and some people might take offense to me saying that because I am a middle-aged white dude, and I, you know, might not have a right to say that. But if I'm watching an African story that is, you know, like Hotel Rwanda or something like that, like I don't want to see, okay, well this tribe there's no white people, so let's throw some white people in. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Random
Henry
white guy.
Cavill
Henry
walks out of the hut.
Yeah. I mean that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if it's okay, let's say well maybe there's a South African character that, well, okay, there's a lot of white South African people. That makes sense.
Tarzan. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about with The Witcher.
Yeah, so let's stay on point with that. Let's see. Okay, so one character we're not going to see in season 1 is Eskel, who was, if you played the game, you know who that is. He's kind of like a Witcher that came up as a boy with Geralt and everything. Let's see. So let's go to, is this the butcher scene?
Yes.
All right. So one of the scenes in, you can go ahead and change it over to.
Just start talking about it.
Okay. So this is the scene, what they're calling or not what they're calling, but there's a story in there. They call Geralt the Butcher of Blaviken. And basically what happens, like I said, spoiler alert, he goes to this town and, let's see, Princess Renfrey, which is kind of like a take on the Snow White character from the books. She comes to this town to brings her men, and she is going to like take out this sorcerer guy or whatever. And so Geralt has to defend the guy, and he ends up taking out like all of her men. And because also all of her men were going to like kill the townspeople too. Yeah. And but apparently the townspeople don't know or don't care. Oh, hey, Chris is on chat.
Hey, Chris.
We've already replied. You're late. Keep going.
Oops, my bad. Hey, Chris. So anyways, he goes in and he, slaughters all of her men and defends the town people. But the townspeople, because he's a mutant and he's technically a monster in their eyes, he's non-human. That's where like the racism comes in, because they treat him like crap, even though he just like saved all their lives. And that's the scene you see where like right after this, where she's telling him, people call you a monster too. Why not kill them? And he says, because then I am what they say I am. And then he gets hit with the rock in the head and that type of thing. And basically, they call him the Butcher of Blaviken, and it's meant to be like a slight against him because you butchered all these people. You're a horrible person. But that's the thing with The Witcher, is that it's a lot like Game of Thrones, where it's like the monsters aren't really the bad guys,
No.
But Witchers are monster slayers. That's like what they're created to do, and
They're
can
the
kind of
monsters that kill monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they've got like heightened senses. They can see things, hear things, smell things that others can't. And their medallion is actually like tuned to evil, and it like vibrates or something.
Yeah, it vibrates and the little eyes start to glow. Like red or orange.
Which is pretty common in most like mythical lore and things. Like even in the Mortal Instruments series, one of them has a medallion similar to that.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty common that they have something that warns them of the evil that is near.
Yeah.
It's kind of how they describe it.
It's like everywhere, like The Hobbit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Bilbo has a little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same concept that glows when orcs are around.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of the other things. This is a scene of Ciri and her grandmother, Queen Calanthe. And so one of the big plot points in the early story here is there's just like Game of Thrones, and you're going to hear a lot of comparisons to Game of Thrones because it is a fantasy series. There are several different nations, and there are a lot of different northern nations, and so she is the queen of Citra, I think. Yes. I've got it written down here, but it's a mess and I can't find it. So Nilfgaard is the country to the south, and it's a lot like Germany in World War II, where it is just taking over, and it's just on the march, and it's taking all these other nations out. And so in this story, it's the Battle of Sintra, and but excuse me, Queen Calanthe here is she's kind of a butthead.
Yeah.
So it ends up. So she kind of like hires Geralt. Ends up there's this whole thing where she's trying to kill him, and then she hires him to like protect her daughter, which is Ciri's mother. who also has elder blood, but for some reason isn't being pursued like Ciri. And if you're watching the trailer, there's that scene where everybody's blown back. That's not Ciri. That's her mother at her 15th birthday party, which is like where you can go down to the one where it's fight scenes. And that is, so yeah, the fighting in here is pretty awesome.
It is.
So Henry Cavill looks pretty good, even though he is kind of big for Geralt. But this scene right here is
really good.
yeah, is Ciri's mother, Pavetta, at her 15th birthday party. Geralt's hired to kind of protect her, and then like things just go crazy, and there's a character named Dooney that she is in love with, and he's kind of like, it's not in this, but you can see like a glimpse of him. He's kind of like a hedgehog. His head looks like a hedgehog. He's got like a curse on him, and he ends up being somebody big in the story that I won't spoil for you. But in that scene, so that's kind of a big. There's that birthday party. Things go awry and go crazy. A big fight breaks out, and but anyway, Nilfgaard is like slighted, and they end up attacking Sintra, and they take over Sintra, and so that's like one of the big battles there, and Nilfgaard is just on the march, and let's see. So at the very beginning of the trailer, we've got Yen talking. She says, "I've heard tales of your kind, Witcher. You're a mutant created by magic, roaming the continent, hunting monsters for a price. I thought you'd have fangs or horns or something." And he said, "I had them filed down." And she laughs, which is a great scene to show their chemistry.
Yeah.
The flirty party.
I'm going.
Oh, sorry. She's on it. My bad. So this party right here is where they're... it's actually a giant orgy, and it's like the Valentine or whatever, where like people get in relationships or break up, start new ones or whatever, and that's Yennefer, Yen for short. That's kind of like the main love interest, and this is the story of like them first meeting, and just how she's kind of taken by him, you know, and he from that point on, like he is just like obsessed with her, like taken by her, and he can't get over her.
It's Yennefer after her transformation too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another big thing. We can go into the transformation, but and one of the reasons why they're together might have to do with one of the books, The Last Wish, where there's like a genie, and they have one of the ways to defeat it is like their fates are kind of like bound to each other.
Oh.
So this is Yennefer before she becomes a sorceress, and she's kind of like a hunchback, deformed, and they're saying that that's one of the main reasons women become sorceresses is to use the magic and end up looking beautiful. And this is after her transformation process, and so I mentioned the eyes before with the Witchers, and so the eyes are a big thing, kind of like in Game of Thrones, but they just kind of glossed over the point that Targaryens have these violet eyes. Well, she has violet eyes as well, and we can see in the trailer a really good shot of you know her eye up close, and Ciri has these vibrant green eyes as well. So some of the scenes it looks like you can really tell they're contacts, but hopefully they do some doctoring on that and make it look better. Let's see. So let me just read over some more of this. I'm looking over these. Okay, yeah. Let me just read some more of this.
Your notes, your stuff.
Yeah, the words spoken during the thing. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm getting caught up in here. All right, so then we've got Renfrey, who was, like the Snow White character. Say, people call you a monster too. Why not kill them? And he says, well, I am what they say I am. Or then I will be what they say I am. And then we've got Yen saying all of our choices draw our destinies closer. And then we got Queen Calanthe telling Siri in that one scene we saw earlier, go. If he's still out there, there's still hope. And this is like when she's on her deathbed, and her nation is being taken over. And so then Siri goes on the hunt. She's trying to find Geralt of Rivia. So she ends up becoming kind of like a daughter character to Geralt. And this one right here is actually where she's out looking, and she meets like these elven characters. What is that called? The Dryads. Which in the game they're kind of like just like weird green plant people, but in the books they're just like people, like elvish people with like a green skin tone. So that is one of the things that they kind of got right for the books, and feels more grounded than just like these weird plant looking people.
It's kind of spin on like your normal mythological dryad, which is a wood elf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So go ahead.
I said, which is fun. And like in The Witcher 2, there was a small tribe of dryads that were actually assassins. You could have like...
Oh, the Scoia'tael? Is that? Yep. I don't know if those are going to be in here or not.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So they're basically just elves trying to fight for basic rights to be treated like people, because they don't treat them like people, and that's a big plot point in The Witcher 3, where
Witcher 3 video game.
Yeah, Witcher 3 video game. Excuse me, where this religion is taken over. Excuse me, and burning all the witches and all the non-humans and all that kind of stuff, and trying to wipe them out.
You mean genocide?
Genocide, yeah.
Genocide.
So yeah, it's a really great story in the game, but in the book, the first topic was WWE. You have to go back and watch that, Chris.
Yeah.
So then we got Geralt talking to Roach. I don't have a scene for. That's his horse. Every horse he's ever had, he calls Roach. And he's talking to Roach, which is a nice little scene. He's saying, "Don't judge me." And then Yen says, "They say Witchers can't feel human emotion. What do you believe in?" And that is one of the side effects of becoming a Witcher. And that's in this scene right here where she's asking him that. And so then he responds, which is pulled straight from the books, and he says, "Evil is evil, lesser, greater, middling, it's all the same." And that's like kind of part of his code. And not all Witchers have this code either. Like they're kind of trained up to go hunt monsters, and then some of them are very bitter that they were taken from their families, and then they live unnaturally long lives. They can't have children.
They're like a tortured mercenary.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And so, but Geralt is a hero because he's got a code of conduct that he lives by, which he fights evil, and he doesn't really he's a monster hunter, but he doesn't really kill monsters for the sake of just killing monsters. Only if they're a nuisance, or like killing humans or that type of thing.
Or if he's paid.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like the mercenary trade.
Exactly. But he does turn down contracts too.
Yeah.
If it's unnecessary. But the line, because then I am what they say I am, when she says people call you a monster too, why don't you kill them? That is another like big point in his code as well. So then we do get the scene of what I'm hearing is Vesemir, which I guess I could see it. And he says that Princess Cirilla is your destiny. And he's following Geralt around. He's like the father figure. He's trying to convince him that he needs to step up and take care of Princess Cirilla, which is Ciri. And so then Geralt says, "I can't protect her," and he's of course the reluctant hero, and very very much classic hero's journey type stuff. And then Vesemir says, "If you dismiss her, you'll unleash my writing is
It's
true calamity on all of us. And he says, I'll take that chance.
I wish y'all could see the writing of his notes. He left like a giant space in between some of the notes, and so he had to squeeze in a little bitty print on there, and they can't see that. Instead of just like taking screenshots of something and reading it from that.
Well,
but whatever.
I wanted to have my phone up.
But when he says that, this is like a picture
You got
of the
WWE
calamity.
troubles up there.
What? Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm about to transition it anyway. What I was trying to say is, like, this is the vision that she has of the calamity that she would cause, is like when it goes into that, right?
Well, actually, this in the books, later on in the book, she has a vision, and that's one of the things that makes her special, is she has these powers, and you can see in the trailer, like, her performing a little bit of those powers. This is a kind of a jumping ahead, not related. You're changing without, but anyway, her mouse button is getting a little jumpy on her. So anyway, in this vision, it's kind of left up to speculation as to what this is, because this supposedly this event happens way later in the books, unless they're going to somehow pull that in as well. But she does have visions. She does have magic power. She trains as a witcher at the very beginning, and then when Yennefer comes on, Yennefer is kind of like a surrogate mother to her, which is another thing with people being upset that Yennefer looks so young, and actually Suri is a little bit older than she should be. So then she trains and learns magic from Yennefer, who is very, very powerful. She's one of the most powerful sorceresses.
Yeah.
But that scene that she showed a second ago, that was kind of like the sacking of Nilfgaard, sacking Sintra, and the battle there. So let's see what else we got here. There's also some scenes where Yen is with Queen Kalis of Lyria trying to save her baby, which is another one of the short stories. Because the first two books are basically just a compilation of short stories, and so it's going to be interesting seeing how they kind of pull these all together in one plot line, one storyline. And because there's a couple of them, like Princess Renfrey, that's kind of like a take on Snow White, and then there's some other ones, like where Yen has to go save the baby, and so
a whole bunch of side missions.
Yep, yeah. So they're obviously just like the game, a big RPG. There's going to be one big plot line, and then a bunch of side missions throughout it. They build character and power.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Because it's gonna be a good show. I mean, since the show's been like announced 2 years ago, I've been excited to see where it's gonna go. And now that it's like a month away, and we have a full kind of vision of everything that's gonna happen with it, I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, I'm down.
December 20th is when it's gonna come out. That way you can binge all 8 episodes.
Right at Christmas.
Yep.
Oh snap! Maybe not.
Huge budget on this too.
Star Wars comes out around the same time.
Actually on Christmas, so you got 5 days to watch The Witcher.
You got 5 days to watch The Witcher. All right.
So I'm gonna yield the floor to number 3.
Number 3.
Hey guys, now that I have all of 5 seconds to talk about all of Kanye and all of the controversy going on, I do want to just mention that we're going to try and keep it as surface level as possible. We're not getting into Kanye's faith or debating anything along those lines, because that's not what we're here to do. So I do want to talk a little bit about Jesus over here, proclaiming to the disciples over here. So Kanye West put out a new album called Jesus is King. So you can either listen to that on Spotify, Play Music, iHeartRadio, those kinds of things. It's not on Pandora or any just actual listening place like that yet. What you got?
Yeah, I listened to it. And it was not what I expected. Not what I expected at all. I thought it was just a name. I was like, Why am I listening to a rap gospel album right now?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
So, but yeah, you can continue because it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah. So this is the album Jesus is King. It's got 11 songs on the soundtrack, and so it's Every Hour, Selah, Follow God, Closed on Sunday, On God, Everything We Need, Water, God Is, Hands On, Use This Gospel, and Jesus is Lord. So this is 5 more songs than was on his last album, which is a pretty big deal because he only had 7 on the last album, 11 on this one. I couldn't do math, so if I was wrong, you can hit me in the comments and let me know I suck at math. That's great. But what's crazy is that they actually had to go out and basically put a patch on this album. So it came out with so many glitches that they said we had to make some changes. This whole album has reportedly been updated on Apple Music. Changes should push to over streaming services soon. So if you purchase it on iHeartRadio or anything like that, it should auto download with the patches on it. They changed Selah, which is the second song. Kanye is mixed louder and comes in slightly later on the second verse. Also, chanting in background has been boosted, so people complain that it was too quiet. The song On God has louder vocals. On the song God Is, the second verse at 1:40 is louder, and the My Eternal Soul line is re-recorded. So they even went as far as to re-record some of the actual songs on here. Hands On, the beat is completely different. So it's basically a different song. Use the Gospel. Pusha T has a verse on there, and it now has a beat to it, where originally it was a cappella.
What?
Or it was on beat.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
It was offbeat before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it wasn't.
Wow. So they
together.
just totally
Sorry, not
remixed the
acapella.
album.
Yeah.
That's
Jeez.
funny.
Which is insane. And
Speaking of like half baked, like
Y'all
started out #1 with the games being half baked.
Yeah, this is just besides witches, this has been a half-baked kind of stuff going on around the world.
And talking about half baked, I thought that was a transition into Brunchella, which a lot of people are
Brunchella.
upset about. So it's just a mess. Bring your broom, cause it's a mess. I'm not gonna get into that, but whatever. Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal. It was hosted in Baton Rouge, and so that it was originally just Kanye's gospel group coming to perform and do a Sunday service was what it was just supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then the owner, and I missed his name, it's on here somewhere in one of my pictures that I got posted.
You want to look that up real quick? So while she's looking up, if you're not familiar, the Sunday service, he started out doing it with like him and some close famous friends or whatever, and it's kind of branched out to where every Sunday night he's doing the Sunday service thing, and it branched out to where like I'm talking about like 50,000 people are showing up, and they've done one in Atlanta, then this one in Baton Rouge, and this one is kind of like where the controversy is happening, along with some other stuff like prices, and she'll get into that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it started out everything with the Sunday service being kind of this, very inspirational, good thing. He's had his famous friends or people that he has been associated with in the past just come out and always, support him. It's like, oh, this is a really great thing you're doing. But it's starting to look like it's getting just a tad twisty.
Yeah, especially so. Adrian Hammond Jr. is the owner of Bowl and Rue, so that is a eatery in Baton Rouge in Louisiana, and he's the owner of that. He was the one to basically set up the Brunchella event and was coordinating it. He actually served a year and a day of jail time for fundraiser fraud. So he has done this before. So the service that Kanye West had was free. You could come and attend for free unless you wanted to be in the VIP section or participate in the brunch that they served. And so if you bought a brunch ticket, it was $55, and a portion of that was supposed to go to the Bethany Church. I've got the name of the church. It's just Bethany Church in Baton Rouge. was supposed to go to them. So all of these people
Bethany.
are thinking
Yeah,
that.
Okay, so I lived in Hammond, which is like 45 minutes from Baton Rouge, and I was very involved in a church down there, and we worked with Bethany a lot. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Bethany.
So they have 3 giant crosses in the field beside their church. And they came out and released a statement saying, and I can quote it here, but they basically said, we have no affiliation with this. Event coordinator, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, came up and was like, hey, can we use your field? Because it has these 3 crosses in it. And they're like, yeah, for sure. And so they have no affiliation. This fundraiser was not for them. It had no intentions of going to them. So there's a lot of controversy involved in, was this a Kanye scandal? Is this an Adrian Hammond Jr. scandal? Who was in charge of this? So the picture that went viral, which I'm sure you've seen if you even own a phone or have been on the internet at all, this picture went viral. This lady came out saying, hey, someone messaged me on Facebook claiming to be Kanye, told me to call them, and then pretended to be Kanye and give me a refund and invite my family on his plane.
Wow.
And she's like, it was very obviously not Kanye. They were posing to be Kanye. And so people are speculating if Kanye knew about it or if it was this Adrian Hammond Jr. guy.
Wow. All I can think of is like the guy that does Kanye on SNL.
It's very possible that it was him.
Yay. What's that?
So basically, the company that ended up catering the event, because guess what? It wasn't even Boyle and Rue. They didn't show up. 23 hours before the event, they canceled. After receiving payment for the event and all of these things, backed out and said, hey, we're not going to do it. So the company that's getting a lot of backlash right now, I have the name somewhere. It's called like Lauren's Catering or something like that. I'll find it in a second. They said, hey, we had 23 hours to feed 2,000 people under cost. We basically did it for free. We lost money on this. We supplied all the linens, tables, chairs, tents, all of it at no cost. And now we're getting all this backlash for this food, and it's not even our fault.
Yeah. And they did it with the understanding that the money was going to Bethany.
Yeah, they did it with the understanding that this was for a fundraiser, basically, because the guy that Adrian Hammond Jr. that released his statement said, yeah, it'll go to some charities, kind of like offhandedly.
So
but all of the POP or all of the advertisement for it said that it was going to Bethany Church at the event. And so there's a lot of confusion revolving around it. And yeah.
how many people were they supposed to try to feed?
2,000.
So 2,000 times $55 is like $110,000.
So if you think that everyone that bought a ticket, like, is that going to this guy's pocket? Is that going to Kanye's pocket? Really, who's behind the whole thing?
Yeah.
Because
And,
it's not unlike Kanye to bamboozle people for their money. I mean, if you've seen some of the merch on...
well, just real quick, I can kind of vouch, just in my experience with Bethany Church, like, yeah, they're one of these big churches in Baton Rouge, but from my experience, they're good people. Like, even like as far as like money and stuff, like they don't really take offerings in the service. They have like things outside, and you put your offering in there. That way, it's not, they're not asking for money in the service or anything. Of course, they talk about giving and the type of thing because it's biblical teaching.
Yeah.
But they don't say, hey, like for instance, T.I., who went to the Atlanta thing, felt like he was personally attacked when one of the preachers got up and said, hey, I'm believing God that 10 people are going to give $1,000 when he looks out and sees, a row of multimillionaires. So T.I. had a lot to say about that as far as, all that kind of stuff. But Kanye's pastor say, hey, this was planned months in advance, has nothing to do with that. This guy, wasn't doing it for that reason or whatever. And there's always going to be that, especially when you get into big things.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in my experience, Bethany is not that type of church.
But also remember that what he's saying is based on 10 years ago information.
Exactly.
And that was a decade ago. Since he's probably visited that church. So obviously things have changed, so don't take our word as fact. So I mean, just
based
putting
on what
that
I know,
on there.
Bethany was a good church at least.
But talking about Kanye, whether or not it's Kanye, whether or not it was this Adrian Hammond guy, is really still up in the air. I mean, all of this, Jesus is King gospel released on October 25th. And then I forgot the date for Brunchella. It was Sunday, right? It was this past Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday service, right?
So is it like November 2nd or whatever? The 3rd. Because the 4th, 5th. Yeah. So November 3rd is when Brunchella is what they're calling it happened. And they're comparing it to Fire Festival. They're saying, hey, we paid $55 for basically school cafeteria food. This is a joke. This is not what we signed up for. But again, talking about the Lauren Catering Company basically did what they could with it. And they went as far as to release a statement saying that this has nothing to do with Kanye. The Lawrence Catering Company said Kanye was not involved in this. I'm trying to look for the direct quote from it, but it doesn't say on there. But
like, that's a legit feat. Like, if you've ever worked in anything remotely close to the food industry, you know that was a big deal for them to throw that food together that quick.
Yeah, at all. And basically they just said, like, hey, we didn't know what they had expected. We didn't know that it was going to be $55 a plate. That's kind of between the event coordinator. That's not really our fault. And this has nothing to do with Kanye. Kanye wasn't related to that. Whether or not that's true, that's for y'all to decide.
Yeah, they came in trying to help a friend in a bind and got caught up in the middle of it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't remember what I was about to say.
But again, if you're not sure and you are having trouble deciding whether or not Kanye was involved, just remember that this merch is on his website.
And this is what he sells at the Sunday service, where
which is so
preaching
ridiculous.
quote unquote preaching the gospel. No matter what, it depends on what you believe about Kanye at this point.
So the socks are somewhere around $50, going all the way to the very expensive $200 and something sweater that looks like something that an actual member of the church made at home with her Cricut. This is what he's making money off of.
What's a Cricut?
It's a vinyl cutter that you cut the vinyl out and basically iron it onto the shirt.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a Cricut is, apparently you should look that up.
Well, I mean, I'm a graphic designer and I've dealt with t-shirts and stuff, but I do more professional work.
Boy, howdy.
If you go to Kanye's website, you'll see some of the like Microsoft Word type graphics.
One of the memes that's floating around right now said it was 4 pictures of some Kanye merch, and it said, one of these I made in Word right now, try and pick out which one. And so the whole time you're looking at it, you're like, oh, which one is it? And it said, psych, all of these are on Kanye's website. So if you thought one of them was a Word product, you're wrong. Well, you might be right, but they are all merch that Kanye makes money off of.
And I mean, Kanye, he's strong in a lot of areas. Clothing design, not necessarily one of them. He's got some hits and misses for sure.
Yeah. When he started trying to get into fashion, it was like 3-4 years ago. Like, he had his first little fashion show and everything, and it just came out with these weird looking, this is what they gonna wear in the future, this is what the clothes I love, type of thing.
And most of them had holes in them.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Or just looked like burlap sacks.
Yeah, literally.
Mm-hmm.
But and people buy it and they spend money on it. And if you like Jesus clothes, go for it. That's fine.
Jesus.
But I'm not trying to attack your clothing choices or anything like that. It's not for me. I shop at Goodwill, for crying out loud. I purchase holes in my clothes for $4, not $275. So I don't necessarily agree with you guys spending money on Kanye. I mean, he's already married to someone who's not even famous, and she's famous for not being famous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But whatever. Not talking about Kim or anything like that. But if you haven't seen Kanye on James Corden, I encourage you to do so. He went on the air pool karaoke. So they took over a 767 Boeing airplane and did their version of carpool karaoke on an airplane.
That's so Kanye.
it was so James Corden as well because it was really funny, really interesting. They talked about they get into talking about Kanye's faith. James Corden asked him what him and Kim do on a regular night in, and Kanye started talking about all those things. So this was before Brunchella, so obviously James Corden didn't press him with questions about Brunchella or anything like that. But it is really funny and kind of interesting to watch if you're interested in watching anything about Kanye and all of this going on.
Yeah, and that's a whole other topic in itself that we're going to try to steer clear of, because it's not for us to decide if Kanye is legit or not. That's between him and God.
And whether or not Brunchella was legit, the coordinator came out and said, hey, just because one post of the food went viral doesn't mean that all of the other attendees didn't have a good time. But they also didn't, because another post went viral about the VIP section for this. And so basically he said, hey, I paid for the VIP section of this concert, which is basically what it was. It was a Sunday service concert kind of thing. He pays for VIP, which was a sign on top of a hill with a better view. They were told at the beginning of being ushered into the VIP section that someone would come back for them and bring them closer to the stage, and no one ever came and got them. They never heard anything else. They never saw anybody else. So they're actually further away than the general admin tickets.
Wow.
Yeah, further away, but up on a hill.
Further away, but on a hill.
I mean, it's ironic. It was a Christian concert up on a hill kind of thing. I get what you're doing there with the VIP, but it didn't work. And so people are upset about that as well. So even if you think Brunchella was related to Kanye or not, he's still bamboozling people by having them pay for VIP tickets when there's nothing VIP about it.
Well, it could be just his management too, though. I mean, there's a lot of. That's what I'm saying. Like we could get a lot deeper into this. We were talking about this part though, but I mean that could just be. It could be Kanye. It could be his management.
Well, I'm not saying that Kanye went out there and was like, make them pay for VIP tickets, but don't. Oh, sorry. I guess I should be talking with an underbite. Make them pay for VIP tickets and then don't bring them any closer. I'm not saying that Kanye's doing that, but by not hiring people who know how to do their bleeping job, he's taking money for it. That's his fault. His name is tied to it.
That's true.
His company, all of his things that he supports, which is why there's so much controversy about it. It's like it just like the Lauren Catering Company, whatever, is having to release statements about this, and she's owning up to it, saying like, hey, this wasn't really our fault, but here's what I'm telling you. Yeah. She at least had the decency to do that and take that opportunity to apologize, to issue refunds, which they are doing for some of the people who had some of the worst experience, I'll say, because they all had a pretty terrible experience with the food, but some of the people that had a really, really poor experience, that lady in particular whose post went viral, she was issued a refund eventually. Yeah, it took a while.
After she spoke to Kanye.
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on around it. I wouldn't say that this is something that you can miss on Twitter, especially because there's so many memes going on around it. It's hilarious. If you haven't been on Twitter lately, just look up #Brunchella. It is just insane, the stuff that's floating around about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's all I have about that. You guys have anything else to say about it?
And hit us up in the comments below. Let us know what you think about it. And if you got some more information, we'd be glad to hear it. And just kind of... Because it's fun. not necessarily bashing or anything. I mean, if you're really into what's going on, we're not going to yuck your yum. That's up for you.
Can you not do the Den of Nerds thing? Yuck your yum? That's
not a Den of Nerds thing.
Well, he says it all the time. And it drives me insane.
Well, he got it from Kristen Carr on John Campea. So.
Okay, well, either way, we're not going to do that. I hate that phrase.
It fits, though.
No, it doesn't. It means nothing. A yuck and a yum don't exist. They're two made-up words.
Whatever. I think it's a good description, and it's fun. And
moist.
got that.
Exactly. It's terrible.
It's yuck or yum. I'm not gonna. The things that you like, I'm not going to make a big deal. Just because I don't like it, I'm not gonna crap all over it.
I'm not crapping on it. I just don't want you to do it.
No, I'm just saying that's what that phrase means. In case you're struggling with the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Brown.
Sorry, I had to join in because it's fun.
All right.
Anything else on the Kanye thing? I mean,
No, we already established that.
all right, cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us today. Hope that you'll join us here on YouTube every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we won't run as long every time, but there was a lot to talk about this time, and so yeah, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon.
Ding.
And you'll know when we drop a new video. Podcast listeners, please leave us 5 stars in your podcast app. Check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com. And if you want to support the show, follow the links below. You can find great merch like the shirt I got on. And this is Dylan.
And I'm Lydia. And Chris, I definitely thought you were saying you to me, but you're saying you that he said the word moist. So now...
Yeah.
Now I'm not mad.
Yeah, chat along with us on our shows for The Broken Dead on Sunday nights and FOMO Show on Tuesday mornings.
Yep. Oh, wait. What words did you just say? Oh, you said real words.
Yes, I did.
I said I'm Lydia, but then I got into it, and then he went somewhere else with it. So basically, your name.
I'm Quin.
We'll see you next time. Peace.
All right, bye.